From the Fantasy Armchair, it is the Fantasy TyRant. Hey there, fellow fantasy football freaks. Welcome back to the Fantasy Armchair. And here I am at the majestic Grand Canyon in Arizona. Beautiful. A little hot though. Speaking of hot, my top 10 waiver wire videos have been on fire lately. Last one got over 800 views. Let's get this one to break the 1,000 view barrier. Week 4 just came to an end, so that means it's time for my top 10 waiver wire picks of week 5. But before that, how you doing after 4 weeks? Hopefully, you've been watching my show and you're killing it. But many of you are new. Views are up and I've doubled in subscribers over the past few weeks. New freaks coming in to join the Freak Army. Hey, I got you covered. Need things to turn around? Then check out my Patreon link down there in the description. Sign up today and you'll get 22 entries into my grand prize giveaway, where you can win a Stitch jersey of a player of your choice. No, this isn't some sweatshop black market shit. When you get it, you're not gonna wonder why there's no D in Rogers or why Mahomes somehow has an apostrophe. This is the real deal, so sign up today. Not only do you get entry into the giveaway, but you get one-on-one fantasy advice all week long, plus access to exclusive videos, content, articles, all of that. And another thing you get by being one of my super freaks, you get your own personal shout out. Just like today's super freak shout out, Walter Horn. This dude actually writes books. He's got some for sale on Amazon. He writes about things like epistemology, metaphysics, value theory, psychology of religion. You know, smart guy shit. Check out his latest work, Democratic Theory Naturalized, the Foundations of Distilled Populism. For those interested in political theory, this is likely a fetching read. So look him up on Amazon. Walter Horn. You'll see a picture of this smart-looking, dapper gentleman. See, of course the Fantasy TyRant has the smartest of fantasy freaks in his fold. Walter, thank you for your pledge. And I'll be doing a shout-out on every show, so sign up today. And you get that too. Shout-outs, one-on-one advice, exclusive content, raffle tickets. Who else gives you so much for $5 a month? No one. That's who. Just this guy. But anyway, let's get to the free shit, right? But at least give this video a like, hit subscribe, and let's blow this video up like the other ones. Now normally I do a tirade right now, but I decided to just incorporate the tirade into my mixed notes show. That's my live Tuesday show, every Tuesday, 6:30 p.m. Pacific, 9:30 p.m. Eastern. So come back and check it out. It's got news, updates, reactions, a bit different than my other shows. Come see why. So no more tirade on the show. Yup, you guessed it. You know what the music means. Here are my top 10 waiver wire targets for week 5. Number 10, Randall Cobb. With Marquez Valdez-Scantling on IR, it was old man Cobb. No, not that one. Yeah, him. Randall Cobb, who stepped up to be Aaron Rodgers' number 2 wide receiver in the Green Bay offense. In fact, the 31-year-old vet was the top targeted wide receiver in the offense this week, over Devontae Adams. No, I don't think this is indicative of what his weekly output's going to be like, but I see him becoming a staple in this offense nonetheless. Rodgers asked the Packers front office to bring him in while he was working things out with them in the offseason. So no, I don't think this is a fluke. Rodgers has chemistry with Cobb, and that's well documented. So at least until MVS comes back, I think Cobb is fantasy viable. Go get him if you've got the room. Number 9, Jamison Crowder. First game back from injury, and he puts up a good one, scoring nearly 20 fantasy points. Zach Wilson clearly loves his slot receivers, as we saw with Braxton Berrios over the previous few weeks. Crowder's got his spot back, and this past week, he had even more targets than Corey Davis, but Davis still had a great game. Could it be that the Jets offense can support 2 fantasy-relevant wide receivers? Well, apparently, because we saw that this past week. But that's probably about where the Jets' fantasy value begins and ends. But this week, those two are going to get a juicy matchup against those dirty birds of Atlanta. So go get Crowder, and you've got a matchup-based wide receiver 3 or flex with wide receiver 2 upside all season long. Number 8, Khalif Raymond. I had him as an honorable mention last week, but this week he makes the top 10. He's been the most fantasy-relevant wide receiver for the Lions over the past couple weeks. Targeted 10 times in week 3, 2 touchdown catches in week 4. Move aside, Cephas. This is the real top target outside of Hawkinson in the Detroit offense. The thing is, the Lions suck cat shit through a straw. Mainly because Goff is flaming garbage, but he can still help Raymond achieve wide receiver 2 or 3 status. He's a flex for now, but if he keeps putting up big weeks, he could move up the line in a hurry. The Lions have an easy schedule for wide receivers moving forward, so he could be a shocker of a top 30 wide receiver rest of season. Yeah, the Lions offense has been a fantasy crapshoot, but I'll roll the dice on Raymond becoming a consistent mainstay if he hasn't done so already. Snag him up. Number 7, Dalton Schultz. I actually had him in the same exact spot last week, but he's still available in 66% of fantasy leagues. I hope you're all part of that 34%, but if you're not, go get him this week or he'll be gone. I was telling you that he's been the top tight end for the Cowboys over Jarwin. This guy could be the new Jason Witten in this offense, so I don't see him being available in many leagues after this week. 6 or more targets over the first 4 weeks, 3 touchdowns in that span. He's been a top 3 tight end this season. Why are y'all sleeping on this guy? So go get him, or continue to rely on whatever trash you have in the tight end spot if you prefer. Your choice, but choose wisely. Get Schultz. Or, number 6, Dawson Knox. If Knox is more your flavor, pick him up instead. 6 and 7 are pretty much interchangeable, and I might change my mind who I prefer any given day. Just like Schultz, I told you why to pick him up last week. I told you about his bromance with Allen. You know, just go watch last week's episode for more information. Add in the fact that he's a top 10 tight end this season for fantasy purposes, and consider that he's got 4 touchdowns in the first 4 weeks. That's a touchdown a week for you math whizzes out there. If you've got an injured Logan Thomas, or your tight end just isn't cutting it, pick up Knox. Make your team better. He's available in like 53% of leagues, so a little less available than Schultz, but if he's there, he's my top tight end to pick up this week, so get him now. Number 5, Sam Darnold. I told you to pick him up last week. Man, am I starting to sound like a broken record or what? What's the modern equivalent of that phrase? Oh, I know. It sounds like I'm YouTube pooping my own show. Hey, if you know, you know. Anyway, I called Darnold one of my top QB sleepers in the draft this year, and we see this coming to fruition. He's gotten more fantasy points each and every week, and while I don't think that is sustainable, I think his top 10 QB status certainly is. He's got plenty of weapons in this offense, but it appears he doesn't even need them. You know who has the most rushing touchdowns this season with 5? And no, I didn't fuck up. I'm not talking about just for QBs, I'm talking over all players. Yeah, it ain't Cook, or Kamara, or even King Henry. Sam motherfucking Darnold. He's putting the likes of Lamar Jackson and Jalen Hurts to shame. It's time to take notice. He's still available in most leagues, and that's gonna change this week. So even if you've got a top QB, get this guy, and keep him for the rest of your league. And if you punted on the QB position in the draft, he could be a savior. No more streaming. Get Sam Darnold and stick with him. Number 4, Darnell Mooney. I've been telling you all for the past few weeks that this is Fields' guy. And as long as Fields is the quarterback, this dude should be rostered and started every week. You all scoffed and didn't listen. Yeah, how did that turn out? You'll learn not to question me eventually, I hope. For your sake. But anyway, the Bears' offense is going to get better every week as Fields works through his growing pains. Anyone else remember that old sitcom from the 80s and 90s? Well, if Justin Fields is Mike Seaver, then Darnell Mooney is like his best friend Boner. He's going to grow with him. He's his right-hand man. Okay, wait, I just realized this all sounds like a masturbation joke, but I'm serious. Mooney is Justin Fields' Boner. Isn't it weird that a family show included a character named Boner? Anyway, don't be a boner yourself and pick up Darnell Mooney to give your squad the little perk up it needs. Number 3, Trey Lance. Mixed Notes is my new Tuesday evening show, and if you haven't seen it, you should. It's silly, off the rails, but there's some hidden gems on it that you would miss otherwise. Like when I predicted that Trey Lance would take over as the QB in the 49ers offense, and that would start the second half of the game in week 4 against the Seahawks. Well, guess what happened, folks? Who's the Swami now? Yeah, I know, it's still Chris Berman, but hey, did anyone else predict that? No, and the exact timing too. Anyway, that's enough stroking my own cock. Here we are, just where we thought we'd be eventually. It's time to pick up Trey Lance and win your league. I'd have him as my top target if he weren't a QB. It's just that it's such a deep position. But if you found your starting QB to be a bust, like Tannehill or someone like that, go get Trey Lance this week and start your comeback. The dude scored over 20 fantasy points in the second half. This guy is a fantasy gold mine. You'll be swimming in it like Scrooge McDuck if you happen to get lucky enough to pick him up. If you don't have a stud, or if you have a mobile QB like Hurts or Jackson, or I guess Donald, right? It would be worth picking up Lance, at least as insurance. So no matter what, he's a must-own. He's already paying off, and he's just gonna get better. So go get the next big thing before your opponents do. Number 2, Damian Williams. When David Montgomery went down, I literally fell out of my chair, pounding the ground with thunderous fists of fury. I've got so many shares of this guy, as I knew he was gonna be an undervalued RB2 who could put up RB1-like numbers. Luckily, he may have avoided the dreaded ACL tear, and he may not have to go on IR. He'll definitely miss some time, and how much is yet to be determined, but it ain't gonna be for the season. Phew. But in the meantime, you have to get Damian Williams. If Monty were out for the season, he would move up to my number 1 pick this week. When he was in there, the Bears' running game didn't miss a beat. He has the same skills as Monty and should produce near the same level. So the Bears will likely not have to rush Montgomery back out until he's fully ready. When you have a dude who can go for 55 yards and 8 carries with a touchdown and catch passes out of the backfield as a backup, you don't need to rush your main man back and risk more injury. And you could have that dude on your squad. If Monty just got injured on your team, or you want to fill in running back for the next few weeks or so, it's worth it to get Williams if you can. A starting running back on a team that likes to run is always a good asset. So snatch him up. And my top waiver wire pickup for week 5 is Kenny Gainwell. The takeover of the Philly backfield has begun. Those of us in the know knew it was a matter of time, and here we are. He's got half the toe to Sanders, but has 2 touchdowns to Sanders' zilch. And as a pass catcher, Gainwell has 4 more targets and 2 more receptions than Sanders on the season. He has 6 more fantasy points this season with a lot less snaps. This kid is special, and the Eagles could be making the move to him being a lead back sooner than later. It's obvious they're moving that direction, and don't be surprised if Sanders gets traded. If that happens, then the sky's the limit for Gainwell. If you held onto him patiently, you will soon be handsomely rewarded with a high-end RB2 or better, but he's only rostered in 29% of leagues. That's just fucking dumb.
Think about that. That's just dumb.
That number is about to skyrocket, and hopefully you'll be part of that percentage who gets him. He's worth about half your fab and your top waiver wire priority. Whatever you need to do to get him, do it. Hurts loves his checkdown receivers, like the tight ends and his pass-catching back. In PPR, Gainwell is a beast. He's got great hands, electrifying speed and burst, can turn on a dime, juke you out of your shoes. Man, earlier I was talking about boner. I guess I've got one for Kenny Gainwell. And you should have one too. Even you ladies should be giving you a lady boner. Look it up, it's a thing. Anyway, point is, this is the top target this week, no question. Spend the fab or the waiver priority and reap the rewards, boner or not. So there's my top 10 waiver targets, ladies and gents, but here's a few more honorable mentions. Van Jefferson and Devontae Parker would have been my number 11 and my number 12 respectively. We were all anticipating Van Jefferson's breakout, and I think it's coming, worth a pickup. And Devontae Parker has been consistent this year, no matter who's been throwing him the ball. Great bye-week fill-in at least. Tim Patrick is great, but with Drew Lock at the helm, he's just not getting as much attention. I think that lowers his status a bit. Laddie Murray's worth a look. He'll be the top running back in the Ravens' backfield. I know that's like being king of a traffic jam, but, for what it's worth. Curtis Samuel will prove to be a great gadget guy, especially if Logan Thomas misses some time. Keep an eye on that. J.D. McKissick has the potential to have a killer week any week, but his production's too volatile and unpredictable. And I feel the exact same way about Danny Dimes. In fact, I feel more comfortable about Taylor Heineke. That's someone who's a must-own in 2 QB and Superflex leagues. The Cardinals' A.J. Green and Max Williams are both serviceable players at their position. But Kyler Murray spreads the love over too many lovers. He's like that old SNL character, the Ladies Man, played by Tim Meadows. Yeah, you know who I'm talking about. And last but not least, Cardavius Toney finally got some work. And he did rather well. I just worry what his usage is going to look like when Shep and Slayton come back in a week or two. So there you go. Get those waiver claims in. And let's blow this video up I want to see it go over 1,000 views, but only full and complete views help. So thank you for making it all the way through. Hope it helps. Don't forget to sign up there on my Patreon to get your entries into the Fantasy Freak Appreciation Week Grand Prize Giveaway. To get more details on that, click on that little video link floating above my head. And remember, if we get to 400 YouTube subscribers by October 26th, then for that whole week leading up to Halloween, I'll be dressing in a different costume, acting as a different character for every single show. That's right, I'm willing to look like a goofball just to entertain you and thank you for your viewership. So I'll look like a doofus while I help you crush your league. Hey, thanks for hitting that like button. Yeah, I saw that. Of course, I'm just kidding. I can't see you. I'm not Big Brother or nothing. Mixed Notes is my next show. Every Tuesday, 6:30 p.m. Pacific, 9:30 p.m. Eastern. So I'll see all you freaks later for that. Until then, I'm out. Peace.